Welcome to the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. Whether inside or outside the loop, we are talking everything soccer in Houston. Y'all ready? Let's get it. Houston, welcome to another episode of the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. This time is the 2024 edition, man. We're back. We took a nice little break to kind of, I guess, enjoy December for whatever that was, whether it be all the holidays or whether it be working a lot or whatever it was, man, for us. But tonight is just me and Christian Putalia. So what's up, Chris? How you doing, man?
Hey, how's it going? How's it going, everybody? Good, man. How you been? How's life treating you?
I mean, life has been good so far. I was able to enjoy it. You know what I've been doing lately? I've been watching a little bit of EPL, trying to catch a little bit of EPL.
For real.
Um, I think the last time that we recorded that weekend, I ended up going to catch Aston Villa out of all teams. I went to the Phoenix on Westheimer, caught the Aston Villa versus Arsenal, and Aston Villa won. So I gave them good
Yeah,
luck
it's a good
then.
game.
And then me and you ended up catching that game too, Aston Villa, but Man U ended up winning.
Yeah.
Man U brought that 3-2, man. It was pretty crazy that they were able to do that turnaround. And actually this morning today, we're recording Monday night, but I went and watched the Liverpool game with Rodrigo at his in-laws house. So been trying to watch a
Nice.
little bit more EPL and not just necessarily just scrolling past it. Um, and I was telling Rodrigo, actually, I was like, man, I'm tempted to go back and actually support West Ham like I wanted to originally. Since 2017, I was looking for a new team. Man U was like the team that I followed in the EPL, but it was really because of my friends. Like everybody, when I played high school soccer, everybody wanted to shut up about Man U and how they're great and Cristiano Ronaldo. And I never liked Ronaldo. So whenever I got into it, he had just moved to Real Madrid. And I don't know. I did watch him. I enjoyed it. I had a couple of jerseys. I definitely did called myself a supporter, but I wasn't really attached. And I know that's something you talked about in your podcast before. Just the fact that like you kind of feel like you're not doing a
Yeah.
real it's an injustice that you're doing to call yourself a supporter of a team that you hardly watch any games, but especially with the Bayou City guys, they all have a EPL team, makes it interesting. So maybe starting, and I'm not gonna wait till next season. Starting this year, I'll try to watch a little bit of some EPL games, especially again West Ham, and I think they play tomorrow actually. So maybe I'll catch that game tomorrow. And the reason why I picked West Ham, before people are like, why didn't you pick Man City or something? No, no, dude,
Yeah.
that's a watch. No, but I think I like the West Ham story.
The West Side Story?
Obviously, yeah, I love the West Ham story, man. Maria somewhere out there. But there's been quite a few Mexican players that played there too. So Chicharito was one of them whenever I started or when I decided to follow them. But you had Pablo Barrera who played there too. You had Guille Franco, who's really born in Argentina but played for Mexico. One of those guys. And obviously, right now you have Edson Alvarez, who's one of the best players, I would say, for the Mexican national team right now. He's the one that Tata decided to not play against Argentina. Like,
Of
it's
course.
one of those. So no, that's kind of my thought on that. And I did follow the Hammers, the Bayou. I think they're Bayou City Hammers. So I think there's a supporter group here. So, anyways, that's kind of where I hear. But can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Okay,
hear you
good.
fine.
All right.
Yeah. Loud
I
and
started
clear.
not hearing myself, so I freaked out a little bit. I thought my mic had died. But anyways, man, that's what I've been up to and enjoying the holidays. But man, how was your Christmas, man? You had a lot of empanadas. What's the typical I guess festivities
So,
in
yeah.
Putalia's land, man?
Well, I mean, it's weird because, in Argentina, it's usually summer whenever it's Christmas. So, like, it's mostly like asado, like outside food in a way. Most parties are going to be outside of your house because if you have all the family over, like you can't fit in the tiny homes that usually people have. So it's usually tables outside, asado, empanadas, and like salads and just like different stuff, right? But this year I actually went to my like wife's side of the family and they're Chilean, but we also had asado, so it
Oh,
wasn't
there
that
you
much
go.
different off. No, but I mean, it was fun. It's nowadays, it's kind of mostly for the kids in a way,
Yeah, for sure.
especially since they're little. It's the whole gifts and all the
What
toys.
did Santa Claus? I was like, dude, don't say Santa Claus got the gifts. I'm the fat guy that brings the gifts,
Yeah.
like. But what did you get the kids, or what did you surprise them with this year?
So I mean, these kids, they got a bunch of stuff, honestly. I was like, wait, like how much money are we spending in these children? Because this is not this is not in the budget. But we got like a collective toy, not a toy, but it's one of these Nintendo Switches or whatever.
Sure.
So it's kind of like a community game for everybody. So, we all take turns and stuff like that to kind of playing that thing. But no, everybody got like different types of toys. Like the girls, they're really into Barbie now.
Right.
So they got a bunch of like Barbies and, a little hair salon and, this and that and just kind of like those type of things. My son, the oldest one, he's kind of nerdy. So we got him a bunch of like, Where's Waldo books.
Oh, nice.
Well, I
Yeah.
didn't get to him, but the in-laws got it for him. And just like a bunch of books and a bunch of like Legos or like science stuff. He loves that stuff. Um so he got a bunch of that stuff. And then the little one, actually, he's kind of more the sporty one. He's only a year and a half. So he had a bunch of like balls, like footballs,
Mm,
basketballs, soccer balls. So he's been kicking around the ball, which is pretty exciting, because
sure.
you're like, whoa, like, and then
Dang,
he's a lefty.
how old is your older one?
My older one, he is 5.
You already gave up on him, like, so he's like,
Well,
I
because he never, like, every now and then he'll sit there and like watch a game with me, but he gets
yeah,
really bored.
sure.
He'll rather, go read a book or like talk about maps, which is something that I really love and enjoy.
Yeah.
So we actually got him a little globe.
Oh,
So like kind
nice.
of like the one that I have here.
Yeah. Drop my
So
mic.
we play games like, I give him a country and then he has to find it, and then we kind of take turns doing stuff like that. And he got a whole like atlas
Yeah.
book from National Geographic with like flags and maps, and we kind of go over that like a million times. And then but the little one, he got me hyped because he got the soccer ball and he's been kicking the ball around the house, and he's only, he's barely kind of learning how to walk already, and
Yeah.
he's already kicking the ball. So it's it's pretty, and he's a lefty, so that's good.
Man, there's something about lefties for sure, bro.
Yeah, there's something special there.
Yeah, no, same here, man. I really didn't. I think if I got a dollar, or what is it, a $50 bill, I think that was as much as I got for my own gift that someone gave me. But
Yeah.
the kids got so much stuff. I mean, it's funny because I don't give them anything, and I know that sounds like, oh my God, that's awful. You're awful that. No, I don't. In the sense of, I know they're always gonna get toys. So what I
Yeah.
did this time, I actually got my daughter, like, I took her out and she bought something for my son, and then I took out my son
Oh,
and
that's
got something
nice.
for her. So in a way, obviously it's my money type of thing. So I bought the
Yeah.
gift, but it was good because they were able to kind of like, see the reaction of like, hey, she bought you this type of thing. So
Yeah.
it was kind
That's
of,
kind of
and
cool.
it was something little. I think for my son picked something like Frozen action figures for my daughter, and then my daughter picked like Optimus Prime, and you know it's one of those that I steer her to, especially her, because she didn't know what the hell to grab them. Like,
Yeah.
she's too little, so she didn't understand. And my son got it. He was like, okay, I think I know she'll like this. But yeah, just get something that they can enjoy. And I haven't seen any of them, so I'm sure they already lost them. It's a
Of
weekend,
course.
so who knows at this point. But it's at least for a 1 day thing for them.
For
So
real. Yeah.
um yeah, well, and let's go into soccer. But hey,
Right?
let's first of all, big shout out to our friends at Ugly Guppy. They've been hooking us up with really nice gear for us here at Bayou City Soccer, and we're hoping to maybe have a shirt or two for you guys, the fans, the listeners, to get yourself some gear. And apart from just being a Bayou City Soccer related gear, man, give them reach out to them if you're looking for, maybe making shirts for whatever event you have coming up, or promotion stickers, you know, go and check out their website. Carlos is the owner. He's a really cool guy. He'll get you hooked or hook you up with whatever you are looking for. So yeah, reach out to them. Ugly Guppy, great people, man. And apart from the sponsors, man, we are still, we're taking in sponsors, of course. So if you have a business or anything that you want to promote and use what we have, in our website to kind of show um your product, your business, reach out to us. We're more than welcome. And we're still looking for a bar. 7th Avenue used to be where we hanged out. Not necessarily out of the picture yet. It's a little further away, but we're still looking for maybe another one that we can go and have some watch parties, whether it be Dynamo or EPL related, man. So I'm excited to kind of get that going.
And let me join in. If if you're looking to become a sponsor, just to let you know that Bayou City Soccer articles, they're popping up. I don't know if you guys are familiar with FootMob, which is one of the best, soccer apps that everybody has. So basically, whenever you look information about the Houston Dynamo or the Houston Dash, we pop up on FootMob. And also, if you do a Google search on the Houston Dynamo or Houston Dash, Houston Dynamo those, you're gonna see a lot of Bayou City Soccer popping up. So we are front and center covering the team, but not only that, but we do get a good amount of traffic when it comes to
We do.
anything related news and stuff like that. So if you're looking for something like that that could interest your needs for your business, just know that we're doing the best we can to kind of put the name of Bayou City Soccer out there and everybody that supports us as well.
Yeah, for sure. So, of course, man, come join the community. We want to take as many listeners and followers for Bayou City Soccer, but at the end of the day, it's everything to keep people updated with all the news happening around just soccer in Houston in general. Because 2024, man, we got the Dynamo, we got the Dash, Dynamo 2 to cover. We got Copa America, which will be there for sure. You already know it, and the Women's Gold Cup starting in about a month. So
Yeah.
we'll be on that one too, covering that one and anything in between, of course, and the Bold League and any, things that pop up in the city. We'll try our best to cover it. We have a little bit of pretty good manpower if we can make it out to stuff. So, we'll try to get that cover. Christian, man, excited. 2024 should bring a lot of good stuff, God willing. The podcast itself, um, obviously not this weekend since it's just me and Christian, but planning to have a guest in every single episode. We'll try to do a weekly episode to basically drop on Tuesdays. So we'll record Monday nights, drop the episode on Tuesday mornings, or Tuesday, sometime on Tuesday, and once a month we'll have a live one. So we're hoping to have a live episode, I would say at the end of each month. I need to figure out exactly when, but that one should be a good one. We'll have Dustin Richardson join us, Joy, Manny, probably Rodrigo. Of course, Rodrigo. We're not leaving Rodrigo out. He's busy still trying to get
Yeah.
his
Catching up in his sleep.
bedtime routine happening and stuff. So he'll be back. So if you miss Rodrigo, which who doesn't miss Rodrigo? That dude, he's funny and he has a lot of insight. So
He
uh
does.
we'll have him back for sure. And we'll have Crossing Soccer Borders will be back, Christian. So
What?
we'll have
Shout
Crossing
out.
Soccer Borders here in the feed. That one, I believe Joey for sure is hosting that one. Maybe Manny is going to be the co-host or rotating. We may have a rotating co-host, so I'll make an appearance there every now and then. But yeah, Crossing Soccer Borders should be back, kind of giving you updates on CONCACAF and their players, whether maybe Americans and Mexican players playing abroad, how they're doing, and some of the leagues in Central America. So looking forward to that one. I know Joe is already hyped and he's already putting together kind of what he wants to do for episode 1. So we'll try to have that every 2 weeks. I believe that's kind of what he decided, unless he wants to do it every week. So which is fine.
Right.
So not a big deal. And of course, you'll find this podcast and pretty much anywhere you listen. So Spotify or Apple Podcasts. So make sure to follow, subscribe, like, rate. Give us a 5 star if you love the show. I would highly suggest not to give us a 1 star, but hell, if you don't like us, go for it. It doesn't really bother us. People are always gonna say, negative stuff. So unbothered, man. Don't let it bother us. But and I guess the last housekeeping. Oh yeah. And all the podcasts will be as well on the YouTube channel. So if you're a YouTube person, if you're a visual person, which is funny, dude. I can never going back to YouTube, I used to watch like clips of especially soccer, like just sit there and watch a million of YouTube videos. I can't do that anymore. Like I can never go into YouTube. It's so odd now. Like I never go into YouTube. Never.
I consume a lot of YouTube.
Yeah. I
Too
I don't
much.
know why. And I'm not saying that YouTube is bad because like if I need something, like if I need to do something and I'm like, how do you do this? So I have to go to YouTube and figure it out. But just sit there and watch it, never. Like it's rare. It's weird. I used to just sit there and watch like cat videos or something stupid like that. People getting hurt. But I guess Instagram has it too, man. But yeah, okay. Talking about lefties, we'll go ahead and kick with the dash. You said lefties. I have a little girl. She's fantastic with her left foot, man. So I'm excited as well. She gets really into soccer. She's a little shy, so hopefully she breaks out of that and actually wants to play and get involved in kicking the ball for fun. But she's a lefty, and I'm like, there we go, man. We got us a lefty.
Got him in the
And
bag.
and with that, let's start with the dash. Maria Sanchez, man, lucky lefty, only lefty basically. She doesn't really have a right foot, but she got signed for a very good contract for her, right? I think they mentioned it was like she's the most expensive player, making like 1.5 million for like a 3 year contract. So she's with the Houston Dash all the way to 2026 and with a option for 2027. So the Bombi is here to stay. So Maria Sanchez, big deal for the Dash. Out of I guess all the bad things that were happening last season, she was probably one of the brighter stars. So she has a lot of man, she's super technical with the ball. I think
She's
she's
good.
probably one of the flashiest women soccer players out there. Like not even close. I don't think there's anybody close to her. How like the
And it
skills she
doesn't
has.
and it doesn't seem like she does it like on purpose. It just kind of comes out. Like, she's not trying to be flashy. That's just the way that she plays, but like little
Yeah.
taquitos and stuff
Yeah,
like
she
that.
just
Like,
weaves through people, gives like
yeah,
nice little hill passes. Obviously, when again, her left foot, man, is one of the best out there. Super technical. She can shoot from far. She can do really good crosses. And again, a meg or two didn't hurt anybody when you're looking at soccer, man. It is like, whoo,
yeah.
she got you. Ah, it's one of
She
those.
she reminds me of Leon Bailey,
Yeah, I can see that. If anything,
right?
who I was gonna say? I was gonna say Di Maria. I think she's more like a
I
Di
can see that.
Maria. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like,
yeah, I can
watch
see
her
that.
next time. I think she plays the like Di Maria. Definitely not as fast as Di Maria. Di Maria is pacey, but whenever it comes to doing the moves, I see her and I'm like, dang, that's Di Maria right there. Like,
She had
so it's
good
great,
kicks.
great to see her back. Hopefully they built around. There's not a ton of signings that have happened for the Houston Dash. They did acquire Bell Breed from she came from San Diego, and I believe she's a defender or they could play midfield. So they're slowly adding some pieces, but it really wasn't happening because they had no coach at the time. So now, last week they brought in Fran Alonso for an early Christmas present
Shout out.
for the Houston Dash fans. And yeah, so he's the next head coach. So not necessarily sure how long he'll be here or how long his contract is, but hey, just get started with a coach, man. They've just been so unlucky. Sam Leahy, Sarah Lodum, Clarkson, what is it, Juan Carlos Almoros. Like that's only been like a year worth of coaches. So it's pretty
That's crazy.
crazy that, hopefully Fran Alonso, the Spaniard, who's had a lot of success in Scotland with Celtic. So, seems like he won a couple, I guess, important championships for them. So he has, he wants to win. He wants to prove himself. It's funny because I guess when they were like it's Celtic did like an exit interview on YouTube, which is kind of cool, because obviously he left in good terms when he was coming to Houston, and everybody talked about how the NWSL is just like this one of the best leagues in the world, and I can see why, because there's a lot of U.S. women national team players here, and that's top players out there in the world per se. So I could see why it's considered one of them. Now, when I go to a Dash game, I don't necessarily see it, but I want that. I want to see what he can produce, especially with the coming from a lower league that he even mentioned. The Scottish league is not even close to what NWSL is. So hopefully, him being a successful in that type of league can help him build the Houston Dash and kind of bring it back to not to a glory days because it hasn't been really any glory days for the Dash, but 2 years ago in 2020, 3 years ago, um, we were seeing kind of like the upside, the climb. It looked like they were
Yeah.
finally getting out of it, and out of nowhere, it just went back to crap, basically. And it started even though they made the playoffs 2 years ago at this point, it just didn't really build anything. And you whenever you make the playoffs, kind of like the Dynamo did finally, after forever, you don't want to not make it or get close to making it again. Kind of you want to keep building, and so the Dash literally laid an egg on that just by not being able to qualify again and firing a coach again after not even being there a year. So, um, hopefully this is it for this new takeover that we see some success because there's some intriguing pieces. We mentioned Maria Sanchez that build around her. We are Diana Ordonez, the big goal scorer they brought in that really couldn't find the back of the net in 2023. So there's some pieces there. So we'll see. We'll see where that takes us, Christian. Um,
Sure.
you want to add anything? If not, I'm gonna jump right into the Dynamo, bro.
Let's do it.
You good? All right, Dynamo man. So the last time we recorded, Griffin Dorsey had not signed yet. Christian, your thoughts on that, man? Your thoughts on signing Dorsey? And I will say though, you got it right, right? You mentioned how you would sign him for 2 years, give him an option, and that's exactly what we got.
Yeah, that's it, right? Give him 2 years. Obviously, he earned the contract. Everybody saw the heck of a season he had. He had to work. He had to earn his way up to that contract. And starting with Leagues Cup, he suddenly changed the face of the whole squad. He was one of those persons that kind of helped make that full change into what the competitive team we were on the second half of the season, which is funny because usually the second half of seasons that's where we tend to go down. We usually start strong and kind of end up bad, but I think we picked up going to the second half, and he was one of the pivotal players, key players on that right side to kind of help us do that pivot to the right side of things. So earning a contract 2 years in, honestly, I don't think he's going to be here 2 years. My guess, my feeling is that he's going to have a really good year next year, or I guess this year, 2024, and maybe possibly jump into somewhere else, maybe a, quote unquote better MLS team, or who knows, maybe a lower league, or, mid table, low table, somewhere in European competition. I mean, the kid, I think he's built for those, German teams, those maybe Italian teams. I don't see EPO in his future. I don't see a lot of, La Liga in his future, but I can see some German in him, and, or maybe, the Netherlands, or, something weird,
Yeah,
in that realm,
yeah.
of kind of
One of
second
those
tier
like a
European.
physical league. That's
Yeah,
a
exactly. Because
lot of running.
the kid's physical.
Yeah, for sure, for
Um,
sure.
So I mean, if you can get a good, a good payday out of him, and for him to build his career, I think it would be great. It would benefit both teams. Obviously, I would hope for him to stay here forever. But you want to see your players grow and move on. If you're able to replace them with a better player.
Right.
So I'm happy that Dorsey has become a fan favorite. He was one of my favorites before people started
Right.
talking about him. So I'm just glad that people were able to see what I was seeing in a way, and I was right.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I think most of us being like you, me, Joey, we kind of saw flashes that the guy could be good, man. When he arrived from, Top Ramos signing him. First of all, my joke was like, who the hell's that guy?
Yeah.
They don't even know him at his house, basically.
No, I
And
mean, it's true.
but then you kind of sit back, take a little step back and read a little bit of, his story being a generation Adidas player, being
It's huge.
drafted pretty high by Toronto, or actually not, I don't know if high, but being drafted by Toronto FC. He came when they have won a lot of stuff. They were kind of already on the spiral down, and he just couldn't prove himself. And
Yeah.
clearly, they didn't really think that he was a good enough winger for the league, and they didn't really take a chance with him playing it as a fullback. And again, Top Ramos brings him in, starts putting him as a fullback, and you're like, oh, this guy, he's good.
Yeah.
You wanted him to be. He definitely wasn't defend first, and he attack lacked. Sometimes. And so it was finally getting a mix of it, being able to like, okay, you can defend, you can come back, track back, beat the defender or the attacker at that point, and also just seeing him flourish whenever he got up the field. And I remember when we were able to talk to him last year. He mentioned that as soon as he was close to the penalty box, that he loved it. It was just like it just hyped him up. It just got him really excited, and he knew he just the attacking part of the game. It's his favorite, and he scores some bangers, man. I mean, especially
Yeah.
scoring in a big game like the U.S. Open Cup. It's crazy, like you easily he became a fan favorite, a forever orange for the team, just because of that game alone. Even though he had already put, good performances before and some good performances after, but that just cemented, the fan favorite. And it's funny because you look back and I don't know, he got going to the player awards, the fans name him like the fan favorite. And that swing, Christian, from him or Bossy looked like he was it. He was everyone's
Yeah.
favorite. And then out of nowhere, Dorsey just took over, man. It's crazy. It's crazy, dude. Um, that was the case, and going into moving a little past that, just going into the wars themselves. Obviously, I mean, Bossy gets the golden boot because he had 15 goals in all competition. Steve Clark is named defender of the year. Arthur is the newcomer of the year. Nelson Quinones gets the young player of the year. And again, the fan favorite being Griffin Dorsey. So it's pretty crazy. Oh, and of course, Hector Herrera being named the MVP and the Players Player of the Year. So it was just a fascinating year in 2023 for the Houston
Yeah.
Dynamo.
Sure. I mean, great squad. When you like the players that you named, when they say like, funny enough, I was listening. I saw a video this week, and they were talking about Chelsea and how Chelsea, nowadays is just kind of like flimsy, and the guy was like, well, that's because Chelsea didn't have doesn't have a spine. Back in the
Right.
day when Chelsea was doing good is because they had four guys, Peter Cech, Lampard, Steven Gerrard. No, Steven Gerrard's Liverpool. Some other guy, and then
Yeah.
Drogba, right? But
Yeah.
he named four
Uh,
players that
John
were
Terry in
John Terry. There
defense.
you go.
Yeah.
That they were unmovable and they were in different positions, but you knew that they were like the figurehead of that position.
Yeah.
And no matter who you put around them, those players had to go up to that level of that player. And I think, naming the players that you named Steve Clark in the back, You can even say Shevchenko,
Yeah, he was one of them.
right?
Sviatchenko, yeah, he
So
was good. Yeah.
Shevchenko. I'm never gonna
Nah,
say his name.
you can say it like that. Everybody knows, man.
Uh, Arthur and Herrera. I mean, pillars, right? Pillars in that game.
No strikers, right? No
No
strikers,
strikers, which
and
is crazy,
that's
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind
But
of
you have a good core group, which most of them were named in those awards.
yeah.
And if you get to build a full team around those guys, I think I'm not saying we're gonna be unstoppable, but I mean it's gonna be hard to beat. It's a really good squad, and I mean you saw it this year, and like you said, no strikers. Imagine if we had actual people that could put the ball away, to give us more goals. You obviously need goals to win. So imagine if we had more goals. It could have been a lot better. So
Yeah, and obviously to start the season, the I mean, dude, the season it's January 1st right now, Christian. The season
month,
starts in like 2 months, bro. Two
yeah,
months because it's February 20th. So yeah, it's
yeah,
crazy. It's like right here.
month and 10 days,
So the
or no,
Dynamo
20 days.
kick off the season playing in the Champions Cup. So the 2024 CONCACAF Champions Cup. Obviously, they're in this tournament due to their win for the U.S. Open Cup final against Inter Miami. They'll be taking on St. Louis City. So a hard match on paper, just because of how good St. Louis City was last year, even though they got knocked out in the first round of the playoffs. But
Yeah.
they're not going to be an easy walk by any means. So they'll be starting February 20th. They'll be playing in St. Louis, probably snowing, man, at this point. Who knows?
Yeah.
But then they'll bring that back at Shell Energy Stadium on Tuesday, February 27, 9:30 p.m. If you are gonna like
Oof.
not want fans in your stadium, you put a fucking game at 9:30 p.m.
On a
Good,
Tuesday.
good on a Tuesday. Good job, CONCACAF. Good job. But hopefully a lot of people show up. I'm gonna say not a lot of people are gonna show up from right now. But hopefully that is the case. Hopefully we get some people, especially because the regular season started that weekend. So the
Yeah.
24th, you get a Saturday night game against Sporting Kansas City, and then a Tuesday you play
You know
St.
what?
Louis City.
You know
So
what's crazy or like it blows my mind that this competition is like the equivalent of like Copa Libertadores
right,
or like the actual Champions League,
yeah.
and like people don't care. Or you're like, we think about,
It was
it's
like
a
people
Tuesday
care,
at
but
nine,
yeah,
bro.
well, but yeah, because I was gonna say if you really think about it, even like the Champions League, they do play Tuesdays and Wednesdays,
But it's
and
packed
taking
though because
well, it's packed, but I was gonna say it's technically like late games, right? Because
yeah,
they is what like 2 or 3 o'clock, like Houston time,
yeah,
which is
it's
depending
late
where
at
they're
night.
at over there, it's probably like 8 or 9,
Yeah.
probably closer to 8. So, anyways, but it's not the same. The level is not
No, yeah,
necessarily
of
the
course, of
same,
course.
but come on, guys, 9:30 p.m. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. I know I probably won't be there, like just because I have to work. So that sucks that it has to be that late. Such a great game, and I'm probably gonna miss it live. So it's not fun, man. It's definitely not
Uh,
fun. But
I'll I'll be
those are
there.
the matchup. Yeah, like you'll be there.
I'll be there
Those are,
because I mean it's international soccer that you
bro.
don't see often.
I agree. I
It's
agree.
crazy.
It
No,
it
but
should be a
it,
really
it,
fun
it
one.
will be difficult, yeah.
It will be difficult, and I just hope that the Dynamo are able to. They have to go and not and get either a draw, like go for a draw over there in St. Louis, and then when you play home, obviously you get
Ball
that
out.
win. So it'd be nice to see how far they go. But yeah, no, it's exciting. It kind of sucked that you're playing an MLS team from the get go because there's so many MLS teams in the tournament just because Liga MX basically didn't really care for Leagues Cup the first time around, and
Yeah.
there's so many MLS teams here. So chances of an MLS team winning this cup are pretty
Pretty
high
high.
for a back to back titles. Um, so man, that could be the case. But I mean, who would not like to play like first round, like a team from Honduras or El Salvador or Haiti or anywhere, other than the St. Louis City, one of the hardest teams of the
Yeah.
MLS season. So anyways, it should be still pretty exciting.
You
Hopefully,
know, you know,
again.
what's, you know what's crazy though? Well, I mean, it's funny, but like St. Louis is pretty far away. So like in any other part of the world, St. Louis could have been in a whole different league, like in a whole different country. But obviously, this country's so big that
Right?
it's insane.
Yeah. No kidding. And then, sorry, just going into the super draft. The super draft also happened, a couple days, I guess, or a week after our last recording. Um, the Dynamo were able to pick two players. One of them being a Generation Adidas player, a freshman who scored a ton of goals playing for the University of
A
Virginia,
freshman.
Steven Anner Giaffi, with the 26th overall pick. That's pretty crazy, man. When a Generation Adidas player goes that low, dude, that's you could get yourself basically like a gym down there. So
Yeah.
not even a diamond in the rough like that. That just like, bro, that someone dropped this diamond and nobody picked it up type of thing. Like, so
Yeah.
hopefully that is the case, especially with the Dynamo really needing a striker. Um, we know they picked up Thor a couple years ago, kind of in a
He
similar
was also
aspect. Yeah,
Generation
but he
Adidas,
got
right?
picked in fourth overall. So,
Yeah.
you go from a fourth to a 26th. It's crazy. And obviously Thor, I believe, was a junior, I believe, and
Yeah.
this guy being a freshman. So obviously young guy. Hopefully he can do something. And then from Clemson University, they pick up senior midfielder Usman Sila with the number 55th overall pick. So it's one of those that you don't know. This
Yeah.
draft, a lot of players don't
Drafts
pan
are weird.
out. But again, especially the striker, he has a good chance of, breaking into the first team just because of the lack of talent right now in the
Yeah.
striker position. And whether we see them with Dynamo 2 or Dynamo, it's likely probably Dynamo 2 just from how many players we've seen say their goodbyes. Um, the front office really haven't put anything out. So luckily, I was able to that last interview you haven't already. We talked to Asher Mendelson about kind of like the state of the team and how he felt building it up. But one thing that we asked was about Dynamo 2, and Kenny Bundy will remain the coach at least as of right now unless he gets picked up by somebody. But Asher did mention that that core that we saw for 2 years is pretty much gone. So should be a new team altogether, man.
No, let me say this because I was gonna say, who's happy about these two guys? Kenny Bundy, most likely, right? Because
Right.
let's be honest, they're probably gonna jump into his team first. Have to prove themselves there, and then eventually, if they do make it their way up, they will through there. But I just want to say, open invitation to Kenny Bundy. We really want you to be on the show. We even though on the press conferences, let's be honest, it's usually just us,
It
and
just does,
we
man.
we get to talk to you all the time. But it would be cool. I don't know if he listens or not, but this is just kind of for him. But
Hey,
if you
I'll
are
just
listening,
yeah, we'll make sure to
hop
keep
on.
asking for him. It's not like
Yeah,
we don't ask to talk to
yeah.
Kenny Bunny, but we would
Just,
love to talk to him
just let him know
because
the invitation is out.
5 questions will give you a 2 hour
Yes,
podcast
and
episode.
and let,
So
and let me let me tell you, we're gonna love the 2 hours. Like, not to call him any names or anything, but we are nerds just like him when it comes to most of us. Some of the guys, Dustin, Joey, they're a little bit more nerdy because they'll pull out graphs and charts and just slideshows and PowerPoints. Me and Rudy, we're more
I'll
we
just
like
be
to
fascinated. I'll be like
yeah,
a
we
little
like to
kid, just
listen and
like
watch. Um,
awesome.
but I mean, yeah, what Kenny Bundy brings to the table, not only in the tactical side, but like also like in the personal side of things, I think he's a great person to have in that second team to kind of build up players not only in the field but outside and give them the confidence that they could move up. And I think these two guys are coming in from the draft. They couldn't have gotten a more perfect coach to kind of push them, give them the first push into the Houston Dynamo world. So, and then open invitation to those guys. We should have them on the podcast as well.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing I was gonna say about Ben or Kenny Bundy, I mean, teams are gonna maybe pick him up. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy,
Yeah.
bro, because there's like I was trying to think of the guy's name, and I'm blanking on the guy's name now, but because I can't remember if we recorded before or after he got picked up, but one of the assistants, Brendan, what's his name?
Burke.
Yeah,
Burke.
Brendan Burke. I was trying to see the date just to make sure. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about it. He got picked up
Yeah, it was
December
after.
12th. So, somebody like him, he came for a year. He was the Kenny's or no, sorry, not Kenny Bundy. Ben Olsen's like number one assistant, and the dude got a nice gig in the USL. He became the head coach slash general manager for the Hartford Athletic. Sorry,
Yeah.
Todd Ramos. Somebody came in and Tom Ramos was the coach. He got let go, and then you had another Dynamo player or Dynamo coach,
Yeah.
Dynamo staff take over. So I think Brendan Burke's gonna be missed. It looked like he was a genius when it came to set pieces, all those beautiful set pieces that we saw uh in 2023. So we'll kind of see what that looks like in 2024. But yeah, I mean Kenny Bundy's a super talented coach. He's a player, a player's coach. He likes to get to know his players. He's really involved with them. They're his kids, man. And who doesn't like to play with for a coach that really cares about them. So, um, Kenny, it's one of those, man. If he's not taken care of, I mean, he already was an interim for a little bit in the MLS, and I'm sure you're gonna be hungry to keep
Yeah,
being
for
the
sure.
head coach in the first team, man.
And also, just to kind of throw some Dynamo Dos information out there, there was a rumor, I don't think it's been confirmed 100%, about this kid Exxon
Mm.
from Honduras, if I'm not mistaken. He
Uh,
was
I
rumored.
Yeah, I think he was rumored, and I think when Glenn Davis had Onstad and Ben Olsen, I believe they kind of confirmed that he was
Okay, well, there we
gonna be
go.
signed for Dynamo 2.
That I
So
mean that
yeah,
the way that I see it obviously is every Dynamo 2 player is a potential, it's a
first team player.
potential
Yeah,
first team player. So that's the way that I think we have to see it. And I mean, that is the way that we have to see it, honestly.
yeah,
There's no other way around it, right? Some won't pan out and they're gonna find their way, out through the side door. But it's just the way that the business works, in a way.
for sure.
But I mean, I'm excited because of that too. I mean, a young kid, I think he was what, 19, 20 years old.
Hmm.
We do have history with Honduras, but bringing in potential players that could, pan out in the future. I think it's a great philosophy of the way to do things, going forward.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think you're absolutely right on that. It's one of those that just the idea is to build on the roster through your academy, and
Yeah,
it's something that Dynamo have really not done well. I mean, you saw how many homegrowns have left, whether it be Palomino, Danny Rios, um, Beto Avila, if you want to count him, Mujib Morana. There's
yeah,
just so many guys that don't really, and I don't think is fair to say that they don't get a shot. I think they do get a shot, but they're just maybe not ready for that step in MLS. And
yeah,
I think it says a lot when you have this many guys so-called homegrowns that just can't really break through, and you have other academies that do the opposite. Whether it be Columbus Crew, they do that. They have a couple players that stick around. You have players obviously from Philadelphia Union do a hell of a job there too. And so it can be done. It's gonna be a long time, I think, before the Dynamo can do that. But hopefully in our lifetime, we get some homegrowns that actually stick around, and you can say like, hey, I covered this guy in Dynamo 2, and look at him now. He's the top scorer for the Dynamo in 2032. I don't know.
yeah.
But it'd be nice, man. It'd be
Yeah.
nice.
But I mean, it also goes, to talent selection. I mean, it
Sure.
goes hand in hand. You can't just because they're in Dynamo, those expect them to have minutes in the first team. They're gonna have to compete and they're gonna have to beat out whoever's playing in that position. And 9 times out of 10, the person that is playing in that position has been brought in to specifically play that role. So it's not like, you're going to have it easy. As a homegrown, if anything, you have it even harder because you know, some people are going to be picked, for that specific role. I mean, for example, Steve Clark, he was brought in to be a pillar in that team.
Right.
So if you're Xavier, yes, you're going to be the backup, but just know that it's going to be extra hard because if something happens to him, you're not going to become just the number one off the bat. They're probably going to try to bring in another number one. So
Right.
the competition is always going to be there. I mean, that's kind of what happened to
Yeah.
LaFleur in a way.
And obviously in between Clark and Xavier Valdez, perfect example is a veteran player like Andrew Tarbell that that
Yeah.
he was given the full confidence to be the goalkeeper for that short tournament in the US Open Cup. The
Yeah.
dude balled out, had fantastic showings and won a championship that
Yeah. Of
obviously at the end of the day is going to make it into your trophy case, man. So
course.
yeah, it's very important. And yeah, you're right about LaFleur. Seeing some of those guys that there's a lot of potential, but they just it was gonna be unfair to keep him because of how many other players are, with big contracts are a part of the team. So he wasn't gonna be happy. And seeing him going to a Philadelphia Union, going back to the fucking academy, right? It's just like, oh my
Yeah.
God, really? They just like the rich get richer, man. So in a way, I mean, I hope that LaFleur, kills it over there.
Of
I hope the
course.
dude gets playing time and we get to see him as a fan. The dude was, I mean, apart from being a great player, the few times I was able to talk to him, really nice guy. He has his, he knows exactly what he wants to do with the career that he's in. And so for those type of people, you want nothing but success for them. So again,
Sure.
hopefully that happens. But again, it really, it just hurts seeing a guy. He was nothing, right? He didn't. The Dynamo got nothing out of that, man. It's like he
Yeah.
just
No.
went, got himself a new contract, and it's like, dang, that sucks. That sucks.
Yeah.
Um, but Christian, let's finish it off, man. We're almost there. Let's just the 2024 season or for the Dynamo, the schedule, I mean, was released as well. And the times of our last recording. Um, Whenever Rodrigo gets back, we need to go and do another walkthrough of what we think it's gonna be and kind of where the points are. See if the crazy guy that picked them to be number 4 with the exact same points, which was Rodrigo. I said 4 too when we did it, but it's just funny enough, man, that's just how it ended. But we'll do that. I mean, there's plenty of time still. We have about a month and a half before everything just kind of takes off. So we'll have a good amount of episodes before that. But I did want to pick point, Christian, and maybe get your thoughts on 5 of the games that will mark, pencil in. The very first one we already know, the home opener, again February 24th, Saturday against Sporting Kansas City. Not too much on that. And I'm going based of the article that I think Dustin wrote a while
Yep.
back. Um, but then you also have U15, Atlanta United, man. That should be a good one in Atlanta. All
You get
right. There
the
you go.
microphone got disconnected, but we should be back.
No, you're good. You're good.
No, yeah, Atlanta. You said at Atlanta United.
At Atlanta, yep.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough game. I mean, they have a heck of a squad. I mean, I'm sure they're gonna just keep
You
building
think
up.
Thiago Almada's still there?
I mean, I think
Summer?
he's still there. He might
Well,
be. He might
actually,
be a
that's
summer.
around the Copa America. So I think
Yeah,
there's games happening during Copa America. So he may not be there if Argentina picks him up too.
yeah.
I'm
He'll
thinking about
probably.
it.
Yeah, he'll be playing in Copa America for sure.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, he's projected to be one of the newer talents in that Argentine national team, especially now with the World Cup. A lot of the older guys are kind of retiring,
Yeah.
so it's time for the newer guys to come in. And Diego Almada is ranked really high in the eyes of Argentinians right now.
Mhm.
So even though he's an MLS player, because a lot of people are like they still look down upon MLS, but for him being an MLS guy, he was already being looked well when he was back in Argentina and Vélez.
Right.
but still he's still killing it here. And funny enough, watching Newcastle Liverpool, we saw
Yeah.
Almiron,
Yes.
who literally went from playing
He
MLS
went
to
from
playing Champions
Lanús to MLS to yeah.
Champions League. Yeah, well, I mean, to a Newcastle that was mid-table, right? And then now Newcastle's playing Champions League. I mean, a little bit of money helps, but Atlanta United has
Just
it,
a
so
tad, bro. Just a couple mil.
just a few
Just a
bucks. You know what I
couple
mean?
bills.
Yeah,
Billions.
just a little extra chump change. But I mean, yeah, Atlanta is always going to be tough. It's one of the best teams in the East, so especially in that stadium, and there's going to be a turf field. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff stacked against us, but depending on how the team goes into the summer, I think we could be some trouble for them.
Yeah, that should be a fun game just because I
Yeah,
think it's a stadium that the Dynamo haven't played in like a year or two. So it should be a fun one. Another big one to me and to the search, man. The search voted to go into the strip June 22nd at DC United. Hey,
Oof.
dude, Ben Olsen returns home, man. The prodigal child there, man.
Yeah, and I mean, kind of same thing, right? DC United, also isn't what's his face went back to DC United,
Who did?
Bruce Arena,
I don't think they
did
have.
he?
Well, I don't think they have
I
a
don't
coach
know,
yet. I'll look it
might be
up right now,
tripping,
but I don't
but
think they do.
I mean, DC is always tough. DC is always DC. They
Right.
can be terrible, but DC, it's always one of those scrappy games. I feel. I think it's just part of their history, right? Like you can't
Yeah, I mean they've won like
be
what four
overconfident.
championships,
Yeah.
and they're I
It's one of
believe.
those it's one of those teams that
Yeah.
their name kind of requires you to respect them. I think it's one of the few MLS teams that their history still kind of keeps them up in a way,
Yeah.
no matter how terrible they can be, right?
Yeah. I agree.
I don't know,
I agree with
maybe
that.
that's my opinion, but
No, no, no.
I feel like
I'm with you on that. That sounds
yeah,
right. They're just historically a very good team. They have
yeah,
not been great, the
no.
last 10, well, not honestly, which is sad to say because it was mostly during Ben Olsen's time in
Yeah,
DC. Yeah.
he's
I
kind
think
of
he
trash.
won like one or two US Open Cups and because he won them as a coach. I mean, sorry, as a player, he won the titles,
Yeah,
but not as a coach. So DC United is just not in the best of places, but yeah, you can't really count them out for sure. They're just a tough team to play against. So that's the third one. And then July 7 at no, sorry, at home against LAFC. I think that's the first
yeah,
matchup against LAFC. We know what LAFC did. They ended
yeah,
up cutting the season short for making it to the MLS Cup for the Dynamo men. So, you know, they're gonna have some good players. They just found Hugo Lloris, no
yeah,
Giorgio Chiellini anymore, but they got themselves another, or well, a World Cup winner to be take over as goalkeeper. So it should be a fun game. And we don't know nothing about Charlie Bella or Charlie Bella.
Charlie Candle.
Charlie Candle, man. Carlos Bella. Will he be there? Will he not be there? That LAFC matchup is just so annoying nowadays, Christian.
Yeah, yeah. And anything against LA, either team in LA, it's usually scrappy too. So
Yeah.
we'll see. It's always fun to play them. It's always fun to beat them too.
And talking about the other one, we get the last game of the season at home against LA Galaxy. So LA Galaxy was also trying to just come back from the dead, man. At this point, they've also had a lot of issues with their general manager, with their coaching, with their players. No more Chicharito here. I believe Ricky Pugh is the only one or the only DP left. They also got rid of Costa. So um, I'm sure LA, man, LA Galaxy, big team, one of those kind of like DC United. I mean, they've won a lot
Yeah.
of championships. They've had the Dynamo's number in big games as well. So would not be surprised if they have two massive DPs for that game, by the end of October. So
Yeah,
should be a fun one.
that was their Matt Jordan era. So
Yeah.
I think now they're like in rebuild mode, but the good thing about them is that they have money, right? So and they're a flashy city. They're a flashy team. They kind of have that name behind them. They have that Beckham, flair still kind of in the air. The
Yeah.
sparkles. Who doesn't love Hollywood and being a TV star, movie star? So it's a lot easier for them to pick up players. So I think maybe in the next few years we're gonna see LA Galaxy come back as well. But it's always fun to play them in the last game. We destroyed dreams and aspirations before, so
Yeah.
hopefully we're on the same boat this time around.
Hopefully that is the case, man. And you're right, man. I think when LA Galaxy is doing well, the league is doing really well. I think they're
Yeah,
just a historic team. If people don't know MLS or they can't really tell you any other team, they probably would tell you LA Galaxy just because of the players that have been through it. Obviously, David Beckham, Zlatan, Stevie Gerrard. I mean, they've had some big names come through, so
huge.
they're for sure a worldwide recognized brand. LA Galaxy is, and that's kind of where we want the Houston Dynamo to become eventually.
For
Um,
sure.
that is the case. And then just to finish up, obviously we got a bunch of those Texas rivalry matches. The Dynamo would be playing Austin 3 times again
Boom.
uh, in 2024. They'll play them April 20th, May 15th, and September 21st. September 21st is in Austin on a Saturday. May go to that game, Christian. May go to that game if you want to maybe do a little trip, man.
I
September
think we're gonna
21st.
do a BCS road trip on that one, huh?
Yeah, we'll probably do a road trip on that one. We'll get Dustin to go as well. And
Yeah,
then FC Dallas, they'll be playing April 27th in Dallas and May 18 in that, or sorry, again at home at Shell Energy Stadium versus Dallas. And that's kind of crazy that they're pretty damn close early in the
yeah.
year. So interesting. So we quickly will find out who wins that Texas Derby. Not even the summer. And if the Dynamo have Leagues Cup, U.S. Open Cup, it's still kind of the jury's out on whether the first team will play or if Houston 2 will play. But at this point, one of the Dynamo teams will play on
Right.
that. And of course, we already mentioned the Champions Cup. So it's going to be busy, dude. It's going to be really busy. Um, Anything else you want to touch on before we shut it down?
Nah,
No?
man. I mean, thank you again for a great 2023, and freaking excited to what 2024 is gonna have, man. Super excited.
Yeah, no, it's definitely excited. Oh, and we did give a bunch of giveaways uh at the end of the year. I believe out of the three, I already gave two. I'm missing one. Trying to figure out how we can get it to you. I think his name was Nubian. That sounds
Mhm.
right. Maybe on Twitter. Anyways, you know who you are, man. If you listen, reach out. We'll try to get that to you. And that's it, man. I'm excited for 2024. Should be a pretty good season for us, man. So keep an eye out. And Christian, tell the people how they can connect with us.
Yes, sir. You can always find us at Bayou City Soccer .net. That's where the website is. You can find all the articles, everything there. Don't forget, go to the YouTube channel. You can also find the podcast. Crossing Soccer Borders is coming back, so go check that out whenever it does come out. At Bayou City Soccer and all social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can find Rudy at Rudy Segura 3. You can find Rodrigo at Rodrigo Segura 01. Right? Yeah. And you can find me at Chris Putalias. Don't, and then you can hit up Dustin at Dustin Richardson, or just at the Twitter handle there on Bayou City Soccer. We're trying to get to the 2000s on Twitter,
We're
so help us
close.
out.
We're close.
Share it.
Retweet it, man.
We're
Share it.
right there, so help us out. Also, thank you because that was the first year that Bayou City Soccer came into existence, and honestly, we've been kind of breaking records in a way, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, go to the website, man. Help us out there. If you want to buy us a coffee, hit us up. There's a link there. Get some merch for yourself. Represent the city. Represent, everything that we represent. And yeah, man, just check out Ugly Guppy. Check out Vote League. Check out everybody that kind of help us, go and move forward and keep connecting and bringing you all the soccer information of the city, man. So yeah, at BayouCitySoccer.net.
Yeah, man, super excited to get it going. But like always, and like always, Rodrigo says, thank you for your support, Houston soccer fans. Don't forget to hold it down and keep it forever orange. Let's go, baby.